Sir, start பண்ணலாமா? Sir, start.
Duraisam sir, shall we start?
Start. All the best. All the best.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Hello, my dear students, friends. Very nice in meeting. And with respect to CSI, our student community, and almost more than 20 years, we have the record of one is on A related, that is nothing but Susitha has to speak about our neural network. And another one with respect to IoT, fog computing or edge computing will be deliberated by Gowri, student. And I think definitely the deliberation put forth a nice eye opener. The last is please, sir.
Yes, bro, sir. Thank you, bro, sir. This opportunity. This is a new initiative from our Coimbatore chapter. Actually, India, but this student webinar series has been initiated by our Coimbatore chapter with the overwhelming response from the students during the last year. We are continuing the same. If I hope it will be helpful for you people, especially the students community. So actually, the entire world is depending on computers only, and this the industry. So to give an introduction for this topic, we have decided these two topics, and students of Coimbatore Institute of Technology have put this topic for our today's session. And today, topic, and to introduce about Susitha, she is a student of a B.Tech IT. And actually, as per the and performer,
I'm with an Institute of Technology. Hope everyone is staying safe and fine. Today I'm here to present my ideas on the topic deep learning insights from neural networks, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and types of neural networks, perceptron learning rule, training of neural networks, convolution neural networks, recurrent neural networks, and just first see the differences between artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. How many of you have noticed product recommendation system when you're visiting websites? Whether we realize it or not, we get product recommendation from Amazon. How many of you have noticed? Artificial to a voice recognition system like Alexa. So next comes the machine learning. Machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. It is a computer program which uses a statistical technique to build artificial intelligence systems to learn from the available databases. Machine learning systems can quickly apply knowledge and training from large data set to excel at its tasks. So real-time example for machine learning can be finding cancer using machine learning. It will be labeling the X-ray as either it is cancer or not. So next comes the deep learning. Deep learning is a subset of a machine learning reasonable accuracy. Rule the future of the technology. So now comes the real topic. So what is a neural network? As you know, the term may be quite confusing if you're hearing for the first time, which uses using a
Send me your name and detail for this number. WhatsApp me. I can
human brain
send it to you. Okay.
operates. So this is similar to the representation of human brain. So the operation of complete neural network is like a simple straightforward approach. One will be in the middle, and finally the output will be produced. So here you can see when the image of a dog is given, the processing is done by the neural network and the prediction is done by as dog. When the cat is given, it is processed what is a neural network. Now let us see the differences between biological neuron and artificial neuron. The invention of aeroplane is inspired by the differences. So here you can see human brain is a very complex structure and it consists of nearly 86 billion neurons. But artificial neuron is very simple. Rate of this biological mutation. But artificial neuron is so the processing speed of biological neuron is its first is that in both the cases input is taken from the left hand side and the processing is done at the middle and the output is produced. Some of the terminologies. So the basic terminologies are first is what is a neuron. As you know, for a computer, CPU is a processing unit. In the similar way, for a neural network, neuron is an information processing unit. So each neuron processes some input by applying an activation function, and it gives the result as of the activation function as its output. So what is an activation function? Activation function defines the output of a neuron given an input or a set of input. This decides which output value should be for each iteration. So the random of samples processed before the model is updated. So the number of epochs is another term, which is the number of complete passes through the training. The speed at which the model changes its weights and bias with each iteration. So next, the what is which multiplies with each input and it will be producing an output using that activation function. As you see here, W1 and W2 will be representing the weights and X1 and X2 will B is nothing but a bias, which is an additional parameter added to adjust the output along with the weighted sum of inputs. So bias value will be allowing you to shift either to the left or to the right. So this example demonstrates. So here is an input layer and an output layer, and it can have any number of hidden layers. So next, so single layer neural networks is the most simplest form of neural network. This has giving nodes. So the single layer neural network is a foundation for multi-layer neural networks and more complex networks. So example for this single layer neural network is a binary linear classifier which can isolate inputs into one of the two categories. So this works, which takes only one travel in one direction through the inputs to find the output. Now let us see what is a multi-layer neural network. Multi-layer neural network will be containing more than one layer of artificial neurons or nodes. It will have at least one input layer which sends the weighted inputs to the series of hidden layers. So, and the output layer will be at the end. So, this is used for solving mostly classification problems. As you see here, it will have an input layer and finally an output layer and a number of hidden layers in the middle. So, in order to know more about neural networks, we should know what is a perceptron learning rule. So, perceptron was introduced by Frank Rosenblatt in the year 1957. So, this rule states that algorithm automatically learn the optimal weight coefficients, but the input features are then multiplied with those weights in order to determine if a neuron fires or not. So the learning rule adjusts the weights and bias of a network in order to move to the network output closer to the target. Here is a example demonstrating this rule. So the input will be given along with the weights into the optimization algorithm which can handle noisy problems. So next, let us see what is a convolution neural network. So convolution neural network is mostly applied to analyze visual imaginatics. We everyone have heard a term called convolution. So what is it? Convolution is an operation on two functions which will be producing a third function and it will be expressing the shape of one is modified by So we will be searching large amount of data in our day-to-day life using Google. So all these searches will be stored as a collection of large volumes of mostly frequently used consecutive words. The shape of one is modified by
Susitha, your
Susitha, I think you're mute.
mic got muted.
sorry sir, I will continue again. So this is an example for recurrent neural network. We will be giving collection of large volume of data into the recurrent neural network, and then finally it is fed into the recurrent neural network, and the search is automatically completed. So this is an example. So now let us see what is a natural language processing. So this is a wide area to cover, but I am here to discuss only what is a natural language processing. So it is concerned with giving the computers the ability to understand the text and spoken words in much same way how the human beings can communicate. So this allows the computer to process the human language in the form of text or voice data in order to understand the complete meaning. So the wide application of this natural language processing is chatbot. We can see when we open a website nowadays, automatically the chatbot will pop up from the window. So this is a wide application which helps the support teams to solve the issues by understanding common language requests and responding it automatically. So this is also used in various areas like information retrieval, mission translation, question answering, and sentiment analysis. So information retrieval means we will be retrieving only the necessary information from large amount of data. Mission translation is that it is used for translating the language from one language to another language. So it is also used in sentiment analysis. This is being used by Twitter in order to classify the tweets by as positive common or negative. And I would like to say some of the examples for this is also natural language various areas like information retrieval, development cognitive assistant, question answering, which works like a personalized search engine. So by learning all about you, and it will remind you only what you want and when you want from large. So companies like Yahoo and Google mission translation also uses this technique. It is used for translating to classify our language by analyzing the text to another language, and so it is also used in sentiment analysis inbox. This is being used. So it is also used in order to classify the tweets and understanding common language. So this uses and I would like to say some of the examples for this is also used to various areas like and do information retrieval, develop translation to find a particular shop, which works as a personalized want to know the weather. So by learning you can use this and it will remind you what you want and when you want from large companies like Yahoo and Mission Translation also uses this. It is used like not to classify our small video for you. By analyzing the text, watch the video and so it is also used in sentiment analysis inbox. This is being used so it is also used in order to classify the tweets and understanding common language. So this uses and I would like to say some of the examples for this is also used to various areas like and do information retrieval, develop translation to find a particular shop, which works as a personalized want to know the weather. So by learning you can use this and it will remind you what you want and when you want from large companies like Yahoo and Mission Translation also uses this. One minute, I will share the video.
Google, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft are all moving ahead at a great speed in improving this artificial intelligence software. So it's very exciting. Software is going to solve that, where it'll look at all the new information and present to you knowing about your interests, what would be most valuable. So making us more efficient, we're focusing on what we talked about, on autonomous system. And we sort of see it as the mother of all AI projects. So autonomy is something that's incredibly exciting for us. We'll see where it takes us.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if someday we got to the point where there were robots every place, they were running farms, they were running Apple, they were running Berkshire Hathaway, and all you had to do was one person could punch a button and start it every morning, and all the goods and services that we're getting now would be turned out by robots.
It is seeping into our lives in all sorts of ways that we just don't notice. We're just getting better and better at it, and we're seeing that happen in every aspect of our lives, from medicine to transportation, how electricity is distributed. It promises to create a vastly more productive and efficient economy, and if properly harnessed, can generate enormous prosperity for people, opportunity for people, can cure diseases that we haven't seen before, can make us safer because it eliminates inherent human error in a lot of work.
Artificial intelligence is going to be extremely helpful, and the risk that it gets super smart, that's way out in the future, and probably we're talking about. But now what we're seeing is that for the first time, computers can see as well as humans. That's pretty incredible.
NHTSA did a study on Tesla's Autopilot version 1, which was relatively primitive, and found that it was a 45% reduction in highway accidents. And that's despite Autopilot 1 being just version 1. Version 2, I think, will be at least 2 or 3 times that. That's the current version that's running right now. So the rate of improvement is really dramatic, and we have to figure out some way to ensure that the advent of digital superintelligence is one which is symbiotic with humanity.
AI is probably the most important thing humanity has ever worked on. And I think of it as something more profound than electricity or fire. And anytime you work with technology, you need to learn to harness the benefits and while minimizing the downsides. Stepping back, when you think about a lot of problems in the world, today it's because we typically have a constraint on resources. AI, for the first time, I think over time, offers a different construct. Things which are constrained and look like a zero-sum game today may not be so in the future. Take education, for example. It's really difficult to educate people in a cost-effective way. AI may fundamentally change that equation. It may make it possible for us to have clean, cheap, renewable energy for the future. So I think a lot of things will play out in more positive ways than people think.
So, from this video, you came to know that the future of IT industry is surely going to be the world of AI and neural networks. Now we know that neural networks is a jackpot. I am sure you might be more interested in knowing about neural networks. The secret of getting started is getting ahead is getting started. So start to learn about artificial intelligence, and I assure you that it will be more interesting to learn and it will take you to greater heights. Thank you.
Thank you, Susitha. We had a nice presentation. So the confidence on your presentation confirms the strength of the knowledge with you. So definitely Deloitte is going to be he's going to enjoy your knowledge. So definitely Deloitte is a lucky company to have you in their team. Okay, thank you so much. Now I invite Ms. Gowri for giving a presentation on edge computing. So to introduce Ms. Gowri, actually she was a coordinator in the Arcane event at CyberFest, one of the premier program or event in CAT. She is one of the coordinator for that event, and she is a part of the CAT College magazine. She is a editor of the college magazine, and she had developed a mobile application for visual impairment persons. And she had recently she had completed a mini project especially for the benefit of health people. Actually, COVID-19 health prediction using the data analytics. So I really appreciate the contribution for this COVID-19. Now I request Gowri to give a presentation on the topic edge computing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Just a second, sir. I will present.
Yes, Mitra, what do you want? Do you have any doubt? So actually, if anyone is having doubt on deep learning, please wait. At the end of the session, we will give time for clarifying your doubts.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I hope you are all staying healthy and safe. And let me introduce myself first. I'm Gowri from Coimbatore Institute of Technology, doing Masters in Computer Application. As far as you know, today's world is full of generating data. Nowadays, today, for per day, the data can be generated enormous. So, in order to compute these data, we entered into a new technology called edge computing. Agenda for these presentations are overview, evolution of edge computing, Internet of Things and edge computing, future direction of computation for Internet of Things, cloud versus edge, benefit of edge computing, edge infrastructures, use of edge computing related to industries and healthcare and use cases. First, overview of edge computing. Edge computing is a form of distributed computing paradigm where the computation takes place in an edge devices, which is called as smart devices or smartphones like that. But it opposed to proceed in centralized cloud environment or data centers, and it helps to provide service resources, data analytics, and artificial intelligence to collect the data sources and cyber physical source like smart sensors and actuators. And evolution of edge computing. First is mainframe. In 1960s to 70s is an early stage of computation where the mainframe is developed based on centralized manner. That is, the data can be processed in one place where the physical data is located. And the data can be entered manually by the person called data entry clerk, and it causes more idle time, because if you want to process more data, the system is automatically heated up and we want to cool down that system. So we want to rest, we want to fix some time to cool down. So it will took lot of time to process, and it causes more time waste in our side. So to overcome these, we move on to the client server technology, which is a distributed system in 1980s to 2000. In this period only, Intel Corporation formed and launched the microprocessor, which took the revolution in an IT world. In this period only, the computer was introduced, and laptops and personal PCs were coming to the world, and the data generation begins in that period only. The client server technology is the client can make a request and the server can proceed the request and return back to as a result. But the drawback of these client server is when the client makes more requests, the server can overload. The server is overloaded and it leads to server failure. Due to server failure, the client request cannot be fulfilled. So, in order to overcome these, we move on to mobile cloud in the year 2005 and to 2020. In that period only, smartphones, tablets are introduced, and the data can be taking place in a different format like photographs, social medias, audios, videos, and then lights in social medias like we can put an emojis like that. So data can be in a huge volume, and the storage is increased more and more. And the public cloud like Amazon Web Service, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud Platform can be and provide an storage area where the people can access in that. The centralized one is stored in an offsite. That means the storage can be in some other area which is not nearest to us. And the next one is edge intelligence, which is a distributed manner. It took place in 2020, where the IoT devices were being connected to the device to nowadays real world, and the data can be generated in a very complex way. We want to store the data outside the data center. So we want to go for another technology called edge intelligence. Edge computing. Edge computing is a distributed computation where which brings the computation and data storage closer to the source of data. That is, it improves the time and saves this time of response time and saves the bandwidth. This is the structure of edge computing, where IoT, Internet of Things, can be in a lower level. That is, smartphones, smart devices, watches, or buildings like that. It can be communicated to edge server where the real-time data processing can take place, and then it can be processed and make a decision for the. So, hello.
Continue. Someone.
Okay.
I mistake. They might have switched on. You proceed.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. The real-time data processing is take place, and the data can be processed, and the response will be returned to the IoT devices, and the data summaries can be stored in a cloud in a data warehouse. The data size of these nowadays are according to the market intelligence company, the world data reaches approximately 44 zettabyte in the year 2020, and it predicts that the world's data will be grown into 175 zettabyte in 2025. Now you can see why we want to an edge computing nowadays, because the data can be grown larger and larger. So we want to proceed with a high level of intelligence and computation. And Internet of Things and edge computing. In IoT, with the help of edge computing, intelligence moves to the edge. That is, the speed of the data can be increased, and the real-time process real-time examples and the analytical purpose projects can be proceed with high speed, and the response time will be reduced, and the user experience will be betterment. As you see, the Internet of Things, that means like our buildings, like surveillance cameras, and then smart watches, phones. These all are connected to the edge computing, where the real-time data processing can take place, and the request can made by that devices, and they can process in an edge computing, and the data can be stored in a cloud. This is a brief structure of IoT and edge computing, where the data can be generated. The things where is wearable items like watches, and then car, motors, buildings, mobile phones, meters, like that. And this data can be sensed using a sensor and actuators, and the data aggregation and gateway or something that will collect the data and summarize the whole data, and it will send it to the edge IT framework, where the early data processing, early data analytics can be took place. And then after making these process, the data can be sent to data center and stored it in a cloud, and the response, the decision which is made in a data analytical part will be sent to the devices where the response will be we get. And then future direction of computation for Internet of Internet of Things. Edge to cloud data exchange, where the cost optimization and efficiency of edge computing can took place. That is, the combining the performance and the security for digital transformation can took place. The next one is common on edge data exchange capabilities, where the IoT devices and edge can be connected, and then they can transmit the data and data. The next one is streaming data analytics and batch framework and APIs, where this is where the batch of information will be collected and then send it to perform the analytical process. Then next one is controlling controlled rolling and versioning update of application, where the application can be in next level. We can manage, we can surveillance that, and then we always updated our version up to date. The next one is state of application monitoring from Haddock cloud base, where the analysis the process and the system health and privacy can be monitored. The next one is cloud-based development of edge computing application. As I told you, edge sends the data to the cloud, where the data centers can reduce the latency times. So it is embedded with a cloud-based technology. Then next one is cloud versus edge. As you see the images, where in cloud the real data can be directly transferred from devices to the data centers to the network, and the process can be done in a cloud, and the decision is made and returns the response from the data center to devices. The latency time, that means the computational time is larger, but in edge, where the information can be sent to edge server, which is also called as micro server, and the process can be done in an edge server, and the response will be sent from there to the devices, and the data, the backup data only can send it to the cloud, where the computational time can be reduced. Then benefits of edge computing. As I told you, the moving the data storage, computing and network away from the centralized computing location, closer to the point of the data generation. That is, it reduces the latency time. That is, the processing computational time can be reduced, and the bandwidth can be reduced compared to the cloud, and the cost of data transmission can be minimum. That means when we transfer the data from device to the data center, rather center is higher than we send the data to the edge server. And then increase availability. When the edge is located in our local network, the availability of using the server is increased. And as per the security, cloud can have a fear of data leakage, and hacking can be easily done. But in edge server, we used we use an encryption, local encryption, and other security features like access control and virtual private networks, which helps to increase the security, because IoT always lacks of strong security. To enhance security, we proceed the security level increased in an edge server. The next one is edge infrastructure, where the infrastructure is mainly aimed for high performance and reliability and low latency for users. As you see these diagrams, you can notice that there is 3 circles. First innermost circle is called core data center, where the Google operators, the data center can be placed in America, Europe, and Asia, where the computational data backup can be stored. And the next one is called edge point preserves, where it reduces the cost and provides the user with better experience. Then the next level yellow is called edge catching and service node, which is we use it regularly. Like it is closer to us because we use YouTube, Google Play regularly, which is like a temporary catch on the edge node. If you search, for example, if we took an YouTube, if you want to know what is edge computing, just type it and then search some video. And after some time, we just go and then we again click the search button, means it will always top of the list because it is a temporary catch stored in our device. And Google also has an edge process, edge TPU, where Google Cloud Platform is provided. Where what is meant by TPU? That is tensor processing unit, which uses an AI at the edge. That is analyzing the whole data and with an intelligence, with the help of artificial intelligence, Google can provide this. And other edges like Microsoft Azure IoT Edge and Boston IoT Edge and Amazon AWS, Amazon Web Server IoTs. The next is use of edge computing related to industries. Nowadays, smart applications and devices are response to data, where we want to get an response in a quick manner. So it reduces the lagging time. And then next is in real-time data processing, even a computational process is reduced to millisecond. It will make a huge difference in speed of processing the data. The next one is data streaming is accelerated. That means the data streaming can be in a high level where we can view all the data in accelerator manner. Then next one is massive data can be processed in an effective way. Then the application of in a remote application is used effectively. The next one is the security of a sensitive data can be more secure without putting it in a public cloud. The use cases of computing in healthcare, where we in edge allows us to optimize some part of our stack in a network and gives more localization network for our application. Where this is the example I took. This is an in-hospital patient monitoring example, where the sensor network can collect the data from ourselves and send it to the gateway, where the data processing, local notifications and all the decision makings are processed, and the backup data can only send it to the cloud, and the response will be sent to the sensor network. Where, for example, we take if we have a low heart rate, it can sense the heart rate and send it to the edge gate, where the real data processing can be took place. And if the heart rate is irrelevant, it can immediately notifies our in our device that you are an irregular heartbeat, and please contact the doctors, or it will always contact. It already contacts the hospital doctors, like that. Then use cases of edge computing. First one is license plate recognition. In nowadays, everywhere we have a surveillance camera where we can strictly follow our traffic rules. Like it helps us to monitor where the traffic light, where the stolen vehicles or wanted vehicles can be roaming around the cities, and access the when we access the wrong way, that means we enter the wrong way, it can easily detect, and then we initially can be fined like that. And it is also collect our vehicle speed. If we over the speed limit is over, but we traveled more than 50 speeds, then it automatically detects and notifies us. The next one is traffic management and analytics. That is 72% of traffic management things management analytics can be took place in edge computing, where 55% of laws and 55% in 2018 where the edge computing stats, and then it will predict that 68% of percentage will be increased in 2050. For example, if we take Denmark capital Coimbatore, it has some surveillance. It puts some surveillance thing. Sorry. It helps. Sorry. In Denmark, it will put some 10 traffic management analysis.
Sorry to trouble you, disturb you. You can have some water and continue, please.
It's okay, sir. I just last 2 slides, sir. I just finished.
Okay.
In Denmark, they placed 10 surveillance camera with edge computing, and then they can predict it will more efficient than normal one. That means they took an particular time where the soccer game is held on, and after that they can using an edge computing traffic management system where they are limiting the traffic accident, and it will be more efficient. Then here, this is a small video where the video analysis of smart cities can be took place. Just have a look at this. As you see the video, the future is full of IoTs and AIs, which helps in process which edge computing helps in growing that way. And these are some top. Hello.
Continue.
Okay. These are top companies in edge computing, where Cisco, Akamai, Delmark. Then, thank you. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Gowri. Participants may raise, if you have any doubt, may raise questions. You can discuss with the speaker. So participants, if you have any doubt, if you want to interact with the speakers, you may.
No, sir. No doubt, sir.
Sir, future of edge computing.
Gowri, question is asked for you.
Sir?
Sir, question is for you.
Sir.
So actually, Muhammad Abdullah is asking the future of edge computing.
The future is like we are always lead to our future because nowadays IoT devices are enhanced and to perform IoT computers in a cloud based because we want a quick response. But if we use a cloud only, means the quick response will not be lead because the data can be generated and dumped in that one server, means it will reduce the time. So we want to process the data in some other server before we going to the cloud. So sorry.
You continue.
So we want to place some server in between that and communicating between cloud and IoT devices can reduce it, and the data processing can be increased and the response time will be increased. So we have a fraction. If we took a cloud and IoT, means if we can take a time in milliseconds, but if we use an edge computing, it will be a nanosecond, because the process time is increased and the user experience will be increased. This is the future where we're looking for. I hope I answer your questions.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So, any other doubts?
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, please.
How to get started with deep learning as a second year student?
Can you please repeat your question?
How to get started with deep learning as a second year student?
So first, to start with deep learning, first you have to practice the code which is already available in net. First, try to practice with that and learn some libraries and get familiar with the code and try to develop your own code. Then think of an application, real-time application, which will be useful for the society, and then you can start implementing it.
Hello.
Which language best for deep learning?
Python. You can use Python for developing the applications.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sorry for the interruption. I am Professor Karthikeyan speaking. Rana, it is better to start with machine learning, because there are three categories: AI, machine learning, and then deep learning. So my personal advice to you, since you are now studying in second year, you start with machine learning and Python. So third year, definitely you have to do some mini projects associated with Python, with machine learning, and final year you definitely find a room for deep learning. So that is my personal advice to you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Chirag Naresh Patel raised a question. Is there any sector, something which is unlike 9 to 5 desk jobs? So for which what you can do is, so you can be a freelance programmer. So that's the only way. Because in almost any other cases, we are supposed to work based on the timing which has been specified by the industry. So better you can go for freelance programmer So you have a freedom. Any other doubt?
No, sir, no doubt.
Okay, shall we conclude then? Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Susitha and Gowri.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, Sushita and Ms. Gowri. You had both of you had given a nice presentation. Definitely, our students or participants might have enjoyed your presentation. So definitely, it will be an eye opener. So both of you had given that is chosen the topic which is much needed for the industry, especially for the students community. It will be much useful. So I thank both the speakers for choosing a nice topic and required topic for this time. So on behalf of our Coimbatore chapter CSI, I appreciate both the speakers and I wishes both of them for a bright and prosperous future. Thank you. So now I just hand over to Mrs. Sridevi, Dr. Sridevi. Dr. Sridevi.
Sir, am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Please, ma'am. Please, ma'am. Yes,
Uh,
audible.
yes. Thank you for giving me the closing notes opportunity, sir. Actually, first of all, I would like to give remarks on Sushita's presentation on deep learning insights from ANN. Everybody is talking about nowadays regarding this AI, deep learning and machine learning and all. But even though it resonates with the lifestyle of the world today, the students do not have a clarity on the techniques which has to be used in deep learning and machine learning also. But Shushita had given a very good presentation on what is the differences between AI, ML and DL very clearly. And also she started with giving an introduction talk of making the interesting point from product recommendations, and also she started to give emphasis on AI, ML and deep learning, saying that what are the number of publications, how the publications drastically increased, which really shows how much research work is being carried out at present scenario. So which really insisted what may be the importance of this topic taken into account. She really had given all the terminologies and technicalities behind it, and also she clearly explained how this convolutional and RN and everything could be used for image processing as well as for data processing. Really a good presentation, even though she is from the undergraduate degree program. I didn't feel that she is from the final year undergraduate degree program. She had done a very good presentation of giving a complete dimension of what the topic had been assigned to her. Really a good presentation. Good luck, Ms. Susitha, Ms. A. Susitha, B.Tech AIT, CIT, and B.Tech IT from Coimbatore Institute of Technology. And then the presentation regarding the presentation on the edge computing. Actually, the people know how the algorithms are working with, and most of the IT people and also the computer science people will be working more on algorithms and also soft computing. But many people do not have a clear idea on computing infra, which is being utilized nowadays. Nowadays, I mean, 1 decade or 2 decades ago, people are concentrating only on writing on the software code, and slowly they started to think of parallel processing. Nowadays, they have to concentrate on, or else they should know more on cloud computing and edge computing and all. She clearly explained what is edge computing and what are all the most widely used use cases for in edge computing. And also she clearly explained what is the difference between the cloud and edge, which will be really throwing light on the topic undertaken by her. Really a good presentation. And she has given a glimpse on what may be the latency and what may be the advantage of making use of the edge servers over the cloud servers. That's really a good presentation. So, being the final year student of MCA from CIT, she had really given a very good presentation. I congratulate Ms. R.R. Gowri and also Ms. A. Susitha for having given a very good presentations. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
So, over to Dr. Sarvana Kumar, sir.
Yeah, I would like to just convey my, thank you. Very good evening to all of you, and on behalf of Computers of India, Coimbatore chapter, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to our speakers of the day, Susitha, who is doing her final year B.Tech in IT, and Gowri, who is doing her final year MCA from Coimbatore Institute of Technology, for their knowledge sharing sessions on deep learning insights from neural network and edge computing. My special thanks to our CSI management committee team and staff. Many thanks to Dr. Somasundaram and Dr. Karthikeyan in particular, who have been instrumental in initiating this wonderful knowledge sharing session through Computer Institute of Technology for this year. Many more colleges are also expected to join in our future knowledge sharing sessions. Thanks, Susitha, for explaining the concepts of deep learning and how deep learning neural networks could be incorporated in successive layers in order to learn from data in an iterative manner with practical examples and with special emphasis on future of neural networks. As Susitha mentioned, there are many areas where deep learning will have an impact on businesses. For example, voice recognition will have application in everything from automobiles to customer management. In the IoT or Internet of Things, manufacturing applications, deep learning can be used to predict when exactly a machine will malfunction. Deep learning algorithms can also help law enforcement personnel to keep track of the movements of known suspects as well. Thank you, Gowri. Thanks to Gowri as well for enlightening our student community on edge computing, starting from evolution of edge computing with the pros and cons of every stage of evolution. And as Gowri mentioned, edge computing optimizes internet devices and web applications by bringing computing closer to the source of the data. This minimizes the need for long distance communications between client and server, which reduces latency and bandwidth usage as well. Just to add upon what Gowri mentioned, edge computing is very, very important because it creates new and improved ways of industrial and enterprise level businesses. It helps them to maximize their operational efficiency, improving performance, safety, and it also helps to automate all core business processes. And it ensures always on availability. That is the need of the hour at this point of time, always on availability. So it is actually the edge computing is a leading method to achieve full digital transformation to any business. And as per IDC report, that is International Data Corporation report, by 2025, 175 zettabytes. Zettabyte is nothing but 1 trillion gigabytes equal to 1 zettabytes. So as per IDC report, by 2025, 175 zettabytes of data will be generated around the globe, and edge devices will create more than 90 zettabytes of the data. So my thanks are also due to the faculty and student community who have managed to take time away from their busy schedule to attend this knowledge sharing session. I would like to end by conveying my good luck and all the very best to our students to come out in flying colors in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Speakers kindly stay back for a photo session. Feedback form has been shared. All the participants are requested to submit the feedback to receive the e-certificates.
Dr. Somu sir, we can take a photo with a participant as well. Then.
Okay, if they are ready.
Yeah.
So all of you can switch on your camera to take a photo.
Dear participant, please enable unmute your video. I think someone is.
Gowri, your face is not clear. So you can switch off the backlight and you can
Just a
switch on
second,
some
sir. I
light in
move to
front of
another
your
place, sir. Yes, sir. I will move to another place, sir.
Yes, please. சோமு சார் நீங்களும் எடுத்துக்கங்க ஸ்க்ரீன்ஸ் யாராவது எடுக்க முடியுமோ எடுத்துக்கோங்க. சரவணகுமார் சார், மிஸ்டர் ஜோசப், யாரெல்லாம் ஸ்க்ரீன் எனேபிள் பண்ணணுமோ எடுத்துட்டு.
Is my face visible, sir?
தங்கம் இல்லம்மா, எனக்கு தெரியல. சுசிதா, you are visible. Where is another one speaker? Dr. Somu sir?
Sir, myself, sir, Gowri, sir. Is my face visible, sir?
Oh, yes, no problem. Please.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Sir, thank you, sir.
Thank you. My special thanks to both Susitha and Gowri for their wonderful presentation. Heads up to you, right?
Thank you, sir. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Computer Society of India for giving us this opportunity.
Yes, it is for students. Okay, right.
Sir, thank you for giving these opportunities to us.
As early as possible, join in CSI.
Sure.
Both of you are not a member of CSI, so try to join in CSI. Take part in our team. Yeah. A couple of months you are going to be an industries.
Yes. Yes, sir, please.
Sir, are you going to say anything about the TNEA now for the students so that they will tell their friends and relatives?
Definitely. So for the betterment of plus 2 students who have completed plus 2, right, we are conducting every year for last 17 years. We have been conducting and going to conduct Tamil Nadu engineering admission, and this year we plan to have it on 15th of this month, especially after 6:30, so as to cover the major parents as well as the student community. So those who have completed this year plus 2, please proliferate the information that we have to have Tamil Nadu engineering admission, and you can contact Computer Society of India Coimbatore chapter for any further clarification. Please spread the news that Computer Society of India Coimbatore chapter is going to have Tamil Nadu engineering admission to be deliberated by TNEA Secretary Sir Purushothaman, Dr. Purushothaman. There is no fees, etc. The registration is free. Please convey the information to all the plus 2 completed students and parents. That is one of my suggestion to you. Please inform the same to all. Thank you, Duraisamy sir, and also thanks all for cooperation you extended for the seminar. This seminar series will continue with the other colleges' contribution also. Definitely, it will give a nice eye-opener for you. Thank you, one and all. Have a good day, good night, and take care. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Very much, sir. Thank you, NK sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Sridevi ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you all.
Saravana Kumar, and thank you, Joseph and all. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye, sir. Take care, sir.
Thank you, teachers.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Shall we leave, sir?
English, sir.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Bye, sir.